Global blockchain company EMURGO is keen on driving adoption of blockchain in Africa to help unbundle solutions by building, investing in, and advising projects and startups worldwide. The firm's recent forays into the continent saw it unveil a new lab. CNBC Africa's Abi Again spoke to the CEO Ahmed Amer for more.
EMURGO is the investment and commercial arm of Cardano, one of the prominent layer 1 chains. At EMURGO Africa, we're tasked with blockchain adoption on the continent and beyond. So we're a very active investor, but more importantly, we're an ecosystem developer. So we are also tasked with creating real-world use cases to blockchain adoption in areas such as climate finance, SME lending, payments, remittance, shipping, trade, TradFi, and others. We are officially launching EMURGO Labs now because of our deep belief in the impact of blockchain in Africa, whereby we're looking to launch a couple of products in some of the areas I just mentioned, in addition to providing tools, methods, and toolkits for developers, aspiring developers, Web2 founders looking to break into the Web3 world, in addition to Fortune 500s, financial institutions, and governments to employ these solutions for their betterment of their livelihoods, their economies, and their people.
Quite interesting, and I'm just also keen to hear in regards to Africa, why Africa, and what's the scale of investment that you're looking at? I've
spent the last 15 plus years around the world building solutions and investing in companies, and I personally wanted to bring this back to Africa. And the more pragmatic answer is that the absence of a lot of legacy institutions and legacy systems on the continent creates an opportunity for blockchain as a technology to come in and leapfrog a lot of these industries. Things like payments, for instance, where we see struggling local currencies, high degrees of CPI and inflation, continuous devaluations. The presence of a tool like a stablecoin is a very powerful method for being able to maintain liquidity and induce things like trade, foreign exchange between one currency to the other, from East Africa to West Africa to South Africa, etc. In addition to other initiatives we've got involved with, such as building digital identities for public school students in Ethiopia that would enable them to be able to rectify their education credentials and receive jobs and get employed going forward. Other things we've been involved with in Africa include things like, as I mentioned, stablecoin, trade. In the last year and a half to 2 years, we've invested north of $50 million in over 60 companies, ranging from Web2 companies looking to break into the blockchain space, enabling to do things like cross-border trade, cross-border expansion, immediate payments, settlement, and clearing using blockchain technology and smart contracts. This year, we're more hands-on deck with building solutions and identifying partners to build them with, and looking to do much more of this with the launch of EMURGO Labs now.
And looking at the broader scheme of things, what impact will this also have on the region, which we're seeing a lot of tech adoption across East Africa?
Yeah, it's been really great actually seeing the impact of tech adoption in Africa per se. And again, I take this back to the point I mentioned about leapfrogging industries in the absence of legacy systems. The emergence of a lot of unicorns out of Africa attributed to specific, key employees being employed in specific sectors and successful companies overseas and coming back home and starting their own companies and starting this domino effect, which we started seeing in the Middle East 15 to 20 years ago, and now finally seeing it in Africa in the last 5 years, maybe a little bit longer. But the emergence of tech like blockchain, AI, frontier tech as a whole, machine learning, drone tech, robotics tech. All of this is really shaping the way we see things and do things on every front. And the presence of a lot of these skills, from engineering skills to know-how to some subject matter experts who have learned this overseas and come back to Africa to share their knowledge and create hubs in different parts of Africa, like we're seeing in Rwanda and in Kenya and in Nigeria, is really, really interesting and insightful.
And in closing, what's your outlook, considering that the African Development Bank did indicate that Africa is expected to see some interesting numbers, and let me just quickly read them out in regards to how the economy is expected to perform. So far, they're saying that Africa's expected economic growth presents intriguing questions about blockchain.
Absolutely. It was great to hear this from ADB, because there are a lot of restrictions to doing certain types of businesses due to the nature of the businesses, and the presence of blockchain really helps achieve them. And I'll give you an example of a company we're very closely involved with in the climate finance space called ChangeBlock. We made an investment in ChangeBlock a little over 6 months ago, and we're working very closely with them now on launching a blockchain-enabled carbon credit tokenization platform. The idea of climate finance to this day has been, extremely cumbersome. We were at COP 27 in Dubai in December, launching some of our partnerships together, and it really hasn't quite caught on yet. And the big component and the big restriction with climate finance is the lack of bankability or monetization, in addition to the lack of transparency. However, when that is achieved through smart contracts and blockchain with monitoring, reporting, and verification on chain, in addition to the presence of decentralized finance, which is a term we use in the blockchain space to highlight the use of uninstitutional capital to finance climate change and climate finance projects and clean projects, this opens up a whole new world.